Someone really took out their anger on this MacBook. Punched so hard the screen didn't just shatter, the hinges also snapped. This means the display won't even hold its own weight. With it folding back further than it's supposed to, it's also deformed the speaker grill on the top case. This keyboard is filthy, but all the keys press, so hopefully it works. With such horrific damage, someone must have had a real bad temper. But with the help of channel sponsor iFixit, we'll be able to get it back up and running again. Their ProTech toolkit is a must-have for disassembling electronics. I've had mine for years now and wouldn't recommend anything else. Additionally, they have kits for larger projects or tiny ones for taking on the go. Get yours at ifixit.com/HughJeffries or the link below. This laptop was purchased in its current condition from eBay for just $100 Aussie. Cheap for a modern Apple laptop, but we won't know if it's a bargain until we fixed it. To begin, I'll remove the 7 Apple Pentalobe security screws. Yes, there's supposed to be 8, but one is missing. So let's hope whoever opened it before me didn't find it was too far gone and decided to sell it onto an unsuspecting buyer. Lifting off the back panel, I found it was still attached. Unlike any Apple computer I've worked on, the battery and logic board is attached to the bottom panel. So I'll need to unplug the connections to the headphone jack, trackpad, USB-C port, and display. Of course, disconnecting power as soon as I could get access to the battery's connector, which is similar to what's found in an iPad. You have to remove one screw and wedge something in between to break the flow of electricity. I couldn't see an obvious way to disconnect the display connector from the logic board, so in an effort not to damage it, I decided to unplug the other end. I can see the advantage of constructing the laptop this way. When MacBook Pros of this era come into Apple for a battery replacement, they replace the whole top case, which includes the keyboard, battery, and other smaller components. With this design, I'm guessing they'd just replace the whole bottom cover after removing the logic board. It also provides easy access to the replacement of the top case if the keyboard was to fail. With the RAM and SSD soldered in place and the keyboard riveted in, there isn't much you can swap out other than the trackpad, display, and logic board. Despite this, I can organise what little parts I've taken out on one of iFixit's new fix mats. It's larger than the old one and now comes with a few small compartments to house, well, whatever you want. It's time we continue further and remove the display. That's secured with 2 Torx screws per side. Honestly, this process hasn't been hard at all. If it wasn't for the soldered on SSD and RAM, and maybe the riveted keyboard, this would be quite a repairable little laptop. With all the screws out, I can pull the screen free. Thankfully, that was made easier as I just pulled the snapped hinges out first. Honestly, these hinges don't look all that strong, but given the laptop's thinness, I can see why. That being said, under normal use, it shouldn't really matter. It's now time to unpack the new display. Costing an eye-watering $452 because I wanted the rose gold one, it was of course the most expensive option. When I purchased it, I found the tax wasn't included in the price, so it ended up being close to $500. And now you can see that no matter how repairable this laptop is, it's unlikely anyone's going to repair it, as you can get a whole used laptop for that price. Why is the display even this expensive? Unfortunately, as we're soon to find out, spending the big bucks on a display from China doesn't mean you're going to end up with a display that's up to your standards. Straight away, I noticed the replacement is missing a standoff, so I can't install one of the brackets that was found on the old screen. Before it's attached, we'll first need to bend the top case back into shape, which wasn't hard as the aluminium is really thin and soft. After a clean out from a microfiber cloth and some air, this MacBook can be reassembled. The screen is to go in first. After a bit of maneuvering, I can push both hinges into place before loosely attaching a screw on each side. Then I can close the screen and ensure correct alignment by running my finger along the edges. With everything good to go, I can tighten the hinge screws and install the remaining 2, applying Loctite to all. Before reconnecting the two halves, I'll clean the remainder of the internals. This laptop doesn't even have a fan, so I guess that's one less thing I have to clean. Ensuring the battery is still disconnected, I can begin reconnecting the flex cables. I would hate to fry something after spending so much money on the screen. The LCD cable was a bit tricky to get reattached, but once it was in, it was just a matter of trimming the bracket to make it work with the new screen. Proceeding, I could reattach the battery, and lastly, the flex cable for the trackpad. Now, all that's left to do is reinstall the pentalobe screws into the bottom of the laptop. Let's see if we've managed to save this MacBook. Pressing the power button several times, nothing happens. Connecting a charger and trying again, still nothing. That is, until it lit up randomly at the login page. There's a password, but that's okay because I can just set a new one. Let me demonstrate just how easy it is if you don't encrypt your data. You might as well not even have a password. I can boot into recovery mode, open terminal from the utilities menu, and simply type reset password to bring up a box that will allow me to reset the password to whatever I like. Restarting the Mac, we can now log in. Don't worry, I will reset the laptop, but I wanted to show just how easy it is. If you want to prevent this, simply enable disk encryption in System Preferences under Security. But with the OS booted, we can see the laptop is equipped with a 1.2 GHz Intel Core M3, 8 GB of RAM, and 250 GB of storage. Now that we know it works, I can remove the plastic protective film from our new display. The last thing left to do is clean off the filth from the keyboard and give the rest of the laptop a quick wipe down with alcohol. And with that, we're done. So this is it, a 2017 MacBook that has been brought back to life. It's quite clear it was owned by a uni student, a cheating one at that. While looking for a date it was last used, I found links to many essay writing sites a few weeks before the history stops dead. Taking an educated guess, I'm going to assume they got caught and failed. Why else would you smash your MacBook? It wasn't like this one was accidentally dropped. Someone really went full force at the screen. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffreys video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing and check out the computer playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.